I'm Al Ferguson, lead anchor at Queer News Tonight. Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network welcomes you to the 25th anniversary year of one of the world's most important LGBTQ+ cultural events, celebrating queer film. The Outshine Film Festival has its triumphant return to Fort Lauderdale from October 19th to 29th, 2023. This special program is going to explore the highlights and the best moments coming for the 15th anniversary of the Fort Lauderdale edition. To help us, we have brought together a dazzling array of talent. Let's welcome Jennifer Kriz. She has a long history of representing lesbians and queer women at the Outshine Film Festival and serves as the vice chair of the board for the festival. Let's welcome Bonnie Builder. Bonnie represents this unique brand of drag queen and then badass fitness instructor bodybuilder. She is an activist for the Black community, and her sharp eye, and more importantly, her sharp tongue, will give us a unique perspective of the Outshine Film Festival. Let's welcome Faye What? She represents lesbians and queer women and is a well-known television personality and the host of the Faye What Show, Mondays at 9 a.m. and then on demand on Roku, Apple TV, and all streaming platforms on the Happening Out Television Network. Let's welcome Dino Mascaro. He represents the Latino community and has vast film experience with the Outshine Film Festival, including the Outshine Miami Edition Selection Committee Chair. Let's also welcome John Hayden. He's the community editor and senior reporter at Out South Florida, and John's long career in network television has allowed him to interview countless movie and television stars. And finally, let's welcome Joe Balancio, literally one of the world's most well-known and respected LGBTQ+ film experts. As the Outshine Film Festival's program director, he has seen all 60+ films in this year's festival. Wait, just a minute. I understand all 60+ films but one. I can't wait to find out which one that was. The Outshine Film Festival gives lots of choices for Sunday, October 22nd in Fort Lauderdale. Well, Sunday, October 22nd will bring the first weekend of the Outshine Film Festival to the Gateway Theater. There is something for everyone on this day. One of your choices can be Happy Clothes, a film about Patricia Field. From the USA, this is a candid, fly-on-the-wall glimpse into the creative process and the extraordinary life and career of Emmy and Oscar winner, queer costume designer Patricia Field, whose unique vision has impacted fashion and popular culture for nearly 6 decades. She is a visionary and a queer icon. Another great choice is All the Fires, a submission from Mexico. Conflicted by his mother's new relationship and his best friend's crush on him, Bruno, a pyromaniac teenager, escapes from the city. He sets off on a journey in search of a girl he meets online who will push him to confront his father's death and the doubts about his sexuality, but not before leaving behind all his fires. Luisa, the submission, is from Germany, and it tells a late World War I, summer of 1918 tale. 2 young women, Luisa and Elsa, live alone on a secluded farm in Alsace, part of today's France. As a young German deserter, Herman, comes along, a new relationship forms between the 3 of them, filled with love, competition, and hate. Another choice is The Trace of Your Lips. This beautiful film is a submission from Mexico, part of Outshine Film Festival's After Dark series as a celebration of Halloween horror. This provocative new erotic drama, vanguard Mexican director Julian Hernandez brings to life an eerie but sexually charged world during an unnamed pandemic, as 2 neighbors drawn to each other during the quarantine wrestle with the desires bubbling up between them and underneath all of the fear and caution around them. So we're talking about Sunday, October 22nd. Joe, tell us about what we can expect that day.
Sunday. A lot of everything. I love the fact that you start with Patricia Field, more, we'll call it a mature character, and then All the Fires is this youth, and then Luisa falls somewhere in between. Just a very dynamic range of characters and stories, and I laughed, I cried. Happy Close, I love. Patricia Field is a Miami resident, so she's called South Florida home half the year. She lives in New York. And we'll be happy to have the director in town who will be able to sort of, go off the page and what you see. If you have any questions, you can get them answered. But she's just a wonderful, quirky character. And, we've all seen the Sex and the City and the clothes. And, she was the designer of that show. So it's sort of fun to hear about those stories as well. Louise, who doesn't love a war story, a lesbian war story at that.
Who doesn't love a lesbian war story? Never to a war.
Right. Anybody raise their hand? I can't see your hand.
Sign me up.
But my favorite is The Trace of Your Lips, and for many, many reasons. It is sexy. It is erotic. It's also very thought-provoking. And I think earlier on, we were a little scared to see these unknown, and you can't see my hands, but I'm doing the air quotes, the unknown pandemic. I think we can all determine what that pandemic was, but I think it's time. I think we're starting to sort of understand sort of how we all perceived what we went through. And it's interesting to watch on screen what these people are going through and sort of their relationship from afar. It is beautiful. It is sexy. As I said, thought-provoking, and it really is sort of cinema at its most intriguing. I don't know that I'll say finest, but definitely intriguing. And as you said, Julian Hernandez did many, many films before this, and you see sort of his transgressions and his sort of what he's done now better than a lot of people in his repertoire.
And as you say that, I want to ask all of you something that I've noticed this year at the festival. The Fort Lauderdale, remember, the Miami edition is in April, and it'll be returning in April of 2024. It'll be the 26th season of edition of the Outshine Film Festival. One of the things that I noticed this year, I'm curious about your reaction. As Joe says, The Trace of Your Lips is his favorite on this day. I haven't noticed this before, so I think it's new, or it's new to me, whichever way. What do you think about this embracement of the after dark kind of theme at Outshine, and in close proximity to Halloween and being in October, that the film festival is making an active nod, tip of hat, to the idea that there's going to be some darker kind of, whether it be campy or gory, or however different films would be defined, but this after dark embracement, what do you think about?
I really like it, and I'll tell you why. It's the film festivals by non-film geeks, of which I'm incredibly proud to be, but film festivals are often seen as somewhat elitist, highbrow, not something you can really take all the kids to see. This is an embracement of pop culture at the time of year, and pop culture in general. So I love that they're saying, yes, we're going to acknowledge this, we're going to embrace it, and we're going to scare the hell out of you all while doing it. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, and is this in Spanish?
Yeah, I saw this film, La Huella de tus labios, the Trace of Your Lips. And actually, I'm very impressed lately by what we getting from Mexico. I mean, great cinema coming from Mexico these days. Mexicans are being daring, and being, for a very conservative society, as we know Mexico to be, gay themes coming from Mexico in the last, in the Miami Film Festival too. We have Porno Melancolia, if you remember. Very, very much that daring subject matters, particularly during the pandemic. And yes, I do think that it's time to talk about the pandemic and how we as the gay community interacted with each other during the pandemic. Yeah. And this is reflected in this film, and it's been done very well, actually. The characters are well written, and the is sexy, like Joe mentioned. It's very sexy. And
It's weird without Mark here saying, and they're sexy as hell. I'm looking in Mexico. Right?
We miss you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Girl, I will be Mark. These men are fine as hell.
Exactly. Right. All right. Well, it sounds like a fun Sunday, October 22nd. It's going to be at the Gateway Theater. Lots of these choices, and I'm sold. The Trace of Your Lips. I'm going to be seeing that. You don't want to miss it either.